Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. In today's video guys, we are gonna take a look at the current market situation, doing an update on actually different stocks that we have been following on the channel, trying to see what's happening. I'm gonna also try to give you what in my opinion are key levels for those companies, right? So in terms of price, because today, right, the Nasdaq is down 2.34%. This situation, the incoming inflation that we have seen in the price of different goods, especially when it comes to commodities, and this is creating obviously a problem in terms of costs for different industries, so reducing margins. Overall, I told you many times that 2021 was going to be a little bit more tricky, and actually is exactly what the market is showing. Anyway, we are going to take a look at different stocks: Palantir, Tesla, Pinterest, Alibaba, all this kind of stuff, and trying to see where actually those stocks are heading at the moment. Now, this is the first time that I do this kind of update, because doing only fundamental analysis, it doesn't make any sense, right? When you do a fundamental analysis once, is it the same for 3, 4, 5, 6 months? So otherwise I just do a video a month. But I think that those kind of updates can be interesting, so I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please leave me another like. It's very important and I thank you for it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new updates. Let's begin. Alright guys, so the Nasdaq at the moment, we see that it did all-time highs. Now we are in the pullback phase. Now this pullback phase, the first level, the key level that very likely the Nasdaq can bounce, is exactly the 50 moving average at around 13,300. If we take, for example, the Fibonacci retracement and we take the last leg up from the bottom to the high, we see that the 50 moving average actually falls in between the 0.5 and the 0.618 level of Fibonacci. So I think that overall for the Nasdaq, this is a key point in terms of a pullback right over there. Now, when it comes to single stocks, obviously, if the index is going down, well, lots of single stocks are going down even more. The first one that we will see is Tesla stock, which, if you follow my channel, you know that in the previous updates that I did, I showed you the bull case with actually a fair price of around $850 per share. But I told you many times, I tried to make it clear how, if you buy Tesla above 700, you are buying a lot of that bull case already priced in. So whenever you are above 700 with Tesla, things can become a little bit tricky and a bumpy ride. Well, this is exactly what has happened in the last 3-4 days. We saw the Giga Berlin, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, which has actually been delayed 6 months. And so the problem when you buy a stock, when you buy Tesla near the price of the bull case, is that, as I told you many times, everything has to be perfect. And in that scenario, you have, first of all, 4 million plus vehicles by 2025. Then you also have robotaxi, which will become somehow successful, right? Now, the problem is that, as we have seen with the crash and stuff like that, also regulation can delay those scenarios. Whether you like it or not, delays and regulations are always present in business. It's all about that. If you remember back here when Tesla was around 500, I told you I was gonna buy, because if you do a fundamental analysis and you actually go on and see what $540, $550 per share is pricing, is obviously more a mistake forgiven than buying at 700. In my opinion, Tesla stock at the moment, in terms of technicals, we see that it's approaching the 658 level which has always been a kind of interesting support for the stock. So when it comes to Tesla, guys, as long as 658 keeps holding, well, that's fair enough. The stock can literally do sideways over there. In case it breaks below 658, actually the next key level, in my opinion, is between 600, which is very near the previous lows, and over there, $540, which is the actually March low that Tesla did. Between those levels, actually, we have also the 200 moving average, which in my opinion is going to be a huge support for Tesla stock in case things will continue to go bad in the next few days/weeks. Now, if you remember from my previous video, here we have still in play in terms of technicals this head and shoulder pattern. So shoulder, head, shoulder. This is the neckline, and even though Tesla has not done great over the last few days, actually this pattern is still in the game because it has not been invalidated. So this has a target price of around $840 per share. We are gonna see anyway key levels to keep that in mind. 658, the first big support, and that if it drops below, I think that Tesla can definitely go very near the 600 level. Then Facebook, over there we have seen actually it beat earnings the previous week and it spiked up. Now actually the stock is pulling back a little bit. Today we see that the market tried to close the gap. Facebook continues to remain strong and the trend is still positive, and for me also in terms of fundamental analysis, I see Facebook as around $317, $320 per share as a fair price. Okay, so it is not that undervalued anymore, but for me it remains a hold, so I'm not planning on selling anything on Facebook. Alibaba, which it continues to actually do very poorly, as well as all the basically Chinese stocks. And Alibaba, if you remember, I told you here, it was when the fine was announced, I told you, look, it's going to be a positive event, but actually this level, yellow level over there, so the 50 moving average and then this downtrend line was going to be very difficult to actually pass in the first place. The stock got rejected and basically we are still at the same place. 226, we see that it has been support actually over the past few months. Alibaba obviously remains undervalued. We are gonna see earnings coming May 13. Probably we are gonna see some great numbers there. I hope so. So definitely keep an eye on that. Same stuff for JD.com. We have seen in the previous video this downtrend channel over there, pretty clear actually. And then the stock bounced back around $72. It came back at around $80 per share, which I told you in previous video it is very near my average entry price for the stock. But then it got rejected once again. So it's right now is inside this channel over there between $72 per share and 79.5. Actually, in terms of graph, I don't like it because it's getting a little bit bearish. We have the 50 moving average, which is going to cross over there with the 200 moving average. Now, this is called the dead cross, right, in terms of technical analysis. However, in terms of my long-term holding, the stock is still undervalued. I will continue to hold. Keep an eye on the 72.3 level, which in my opinion, it has to keep the price higher than that. Okay, because otherwise things are becoming silly in terms of valuation. Then Palantir Technology. Here, if you follow my channel, I gave you a warning actually when the stock was around here. I told you how it is trapped inside this descending triangle and it keeps bouncing, but those bounces are still weaker and weaker. We see that Today the stock is once again very near the $20 level, is again inside this green bar over there, which I told you is extremely important. And yes, the stock is not looking great. It's very interesting to see what will happen the 11th of May with earnings, but on average, guys, the scenario that I told you, so the bouncing rock in the water, we have the likelihood for Palantir to actually break below the $20 level. As long as it remains inside this triangle, it doesn't look great. So definitely keep an eye on this green bar, which we are already today inside, and then keep an eye on the strength of an eventual bounce. If the bounce will be weaker than the previous one, once again, then this scenario will start to be very, very likely. So just definitely keep an eye on that. Just to make you understand what I mean, here is a stock that I was taking a look at, iRobot Corporation, and we can see that actually on earnings, today the stock is down minus 13%. Now I'm continuing to take a look at the stock because it can be interesting. I will probably make a video about that, but I have not bought it yet. Anyway, what I mean with Palantir is exactly this kind of stuff. Look at that. We had the huge boom back in January. Then the stock pulled back, and you see how even in this case it got stuck in what is, in my opinion, another triangle over there. Look at that. You see, it was kind of pretty clear, and we had the first bounce quite strong, and then a weaker one, right? Weaker, 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 and eventually the stock, boom, it break below that level. So here, in my opinion, it tells you what can happen with Palantir as well. So definitely keep an eye on that. Then guys, the next one, Pinterest. The stock during the previous earnings beat expectations in terms of revenues, but they missed the expected growth in users just by 2 million. However, the company has more than 550 million users. But the problem is that those 2 million users actually made a mess. The stock has dropped significantly from 76, is going straight down. Now, in my opinion, in terms of Pinterest, we are at a key level over there. As you can see, this is the 200 moving average, which in my opinion is going to be a strong support for Pinterest. It's interesting because it's just hitting there today, very near. So, well, in my opinion, today Pinterest is interesting. Okay, I will say you that. It's a stock that I own, but I think that I might add a little bit. In terms of fundamental analysis, guys, I showed you in previous videos how, depending on how speculative you are with Pinterest, you can come until a $90 per share. But the fact is that 60, in my opinion, is way more right in terms of Pinterest, simply because they have lots of users, but they are not able to push and monetize those users accordingly yet. But if they increase, if they're able to increase the average revenue per user, this is a company that, in my opinion, can actually go above $100 per share. It's just about that, how they are planning to continue to develop and monetize their user experience. Anyway, this level, guys, in my opinion, if you like Pinterest, is something interesting. I expect a bounce from here. Okay, I'm not saying that it will go straight up, but honestly, I think that today Pinterest should start to bounce from this level. We will take a look at that. Alright guys, so it's everything for this video. I hope you find it interesting. We are gonna see in the next few days. I think that the Nasdaq will bounce from this level, right? Or at least find a support. It will not go straight back down because it doesn't make much sense, but we will keep an eye obviously in the market and try to see whether it will continue to offer even probably better opportunities. Who knows in the coming days. Leave me a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you want, and as always guys, have a wonderful day.